My name is Avi Liran. If you're not familiar with what we do with the MOJO, today I'm delighted to have one of the top 25 influencers in the world of customer experience. And that is Ziv Peled, who is the Chief Customer Officer of AppsFlyer, a unicorn that runs billions of dollars. And the gentleman has 280 strong team of passionate people that they want just to serve and serve well. So a little bit about what I do, just to make sure that you have the editorial paid for. I work in the Gesundheit to the kid that is coughing over there. I work with some of the best companies in the world to delight, and especially now during COVID, it's more and more important that we're going to embed delight in our life, the way that we talk to people, the way that we bring people. And one of the chief delighting officers that I met was Ziv, and that's why we clicked. So we have a full program of training. We have a program that we consult, and we work with something that is now very on demand, is a delight challenge. We give a keynote to the company and we work with the leadership how to apply it and plant the seeds for delightful transformation. So this is Ziv, and he strikes immediately because you see the first icon is boom. That's the impact I want to give, and a great smile that attracts and say, this person is approachable. Now, what you won't believe that this gentleman was an introvert. I even challenge that because I see on the boat that there's a sea of ladies behind him. As an introvert, he just leads and they all go. To his defense, he said that it was long ago and he doesn't remember what happened. He's handsome. I don't know what happened during the year, but he was definitely a young, beautiful guy. He started biking in very, very young age, as you can see. And he's a family man. He's having a bigger family with his employees. So a little bit about MOJO before you go. What is MOJO? What's the difference between anything else that you've seen in your life? We started MOJO because we realized that the online world is disconnected, and just people that come and see people and talk to people and multitask, they don't really connect. And people felt at the beginning of the pandemic, they felt burnout, they felt lonely, they felt sad. There were barriers and they were falling on the Zoom to sleep. And we wanted to do something else. So we said, why don't we, whoops, something happened over there. We say, why don't we use, with my partner who is 85 years old, he wrote the book Everlasting Optimism. Why don't we bring the MOJO to people? But with MOJO was moments of joy, but we didn't know what O stands for. So this is Stephanie. Stephanie is my girlfriend. And she said, why don't we do optimism? So that's became moments of joyous optimism. And this is Lenny. We started that just at March last year. Every month, people have conversations. So you're going to see a different way. We had all these beautiful speakers coming with us. And the recent one was Lenny again, who talked about awareness. And we did a lot of these MOJOs for charity. We raised funds to feed hundreds of people in Manila through an organization that helped us, a women organization. We provided the food, they cooked, and we managed to feed people for a whole week. Especially during the time that they couldn't go out. We helped one of the biggest banks to raise tens of thousands of dollars to help their psychological facilitation by psychologists to help them with their anxiety. And I think we can do so much more. I'm always looking how to do even more. So we just registered with a company, with an organization called B1G1 is like buy one, give one, and we're going to publish it very shortly on top of what we do for the environment. Now, what happens in MOJO? At the beginning, there is orientation and warm-up. Let's forget about that. Everybody's warm-up already at the end of the day. We want to keep the good meal. But what happened afterwards, there's going to be a theme story that Ziv will share with you a story. That story will relate to your life. And afterwards, we're going to break out into rooms. And in triads, you're going to share with each other what out of the Ziv story is relevant to your life. What is it coming in your life? And actually, your stories are even more important than us, because your story can inspire everyone around the world. Now, I want to know if you could share with me, write down in the chat, where are you from? I know that we have Philippines, I know we have Israel, I think we have Pakistan, we have UK. Welcome, Kabi. Pakistan, Tel Aviv, Singapore, Israel. Wonderful. So we are Brisbane, Australia. Philippines. Oh, I love Brisbane. Jerusalem. And we have Malaysia coming in. Philippines. Great. Okay, so the next thing, Ziv will teach us something amazing about the methodology that he developed. And I must say that he's my teacher with his philosophy, and I learn a lot from him. And then we're going to go to conversations again and figure out what is from the tips that Ziv told us that we could take and apply in our own relationship, so much so we can make so much more out of them. And next, we're going to have questions and answers. And now what I should do is basically get my guest, Ziv, to just take over and make his presentation. Let's give a big round of applause to Ziv.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you. Really, thank you, Avi, for having me.
Just one second, Ziv, just one thing I want to tell everyone that doesn't have a camera, you can stay as long as Ziv talks, but the minute that we break out into rooms, I'm going to take out everyone that is not with camera on, because everybody that goes to the room deserves to have someone that is there and not an empty station that doesn't look for him. So that's just the rule of the game. If you don't want to show up, it's okay, it's fine. Just don't be surprised if you're no camera during the breakout rooms, you're not there. You can always log in back, ask us to come again. Sorry, go ahead, Ziv.
Cool. So again, thank you, Avi, for having me. And today, as you saw, we're going to speak, I think, about one of the most important topics and a valuable resource for us that we manage every day, which is relationships. And I'll try to share a little bit from my methodology of how to increase the effectiveness of your relationships. Of course, my focus is professional, but I believe that a lot of this can also be used in your personal lives as well. So a little bit more about me. I live in Israel. I have 3 boys under 10. I'm at AppsFlyer for exactly 8 years and 3 weeks. And I was employee number 7. We are now a company of 1,300 people in over 20 offices. And that remarkable journey of the last 8 years taught me so much. In all the presentations that I've done in the last 3 years, I used my personal vision, work hard, be kind, and be as responsive as possible. I believe that, and I live that like if someone tries to reach me, doesn't matter if it's a customer or an internal employee or a friend, then I'll try to respond as fast as possible, because it tells how special and important they are to me. I decided when I prepared this presentation that I'll change that to maximize relationships. I think maximize relationship doesn't discount the responsiveness, and actually it's making it a much bigger story. And some of that story is what we're going to speak about today. So I spoke a little bit about that when I prepared the presentation with Avi and more. I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert disguised as an extrovert. I'm actually here speaking. I'm doing this because I know that I need to practice this more. I need to do it, and also from my urge to share and learn. By the way, in every of those opportunities, I learn a lot, not only share. And I think that that point is also very, very important, is that as you get more extrovert or you practice more extrovert qualities, you are able to develop more relationships, better relationships, deeper relationships. Now, relationships benefits us all in business and in the personal lives. Here, I try to demonstrate, and here I want everyone, each and every one of you, to think how many people you know, how many personal relationships you have. So you have the close family, the second ring, third ring. We have so many people that we interact with. I think the last 2 years also changed that a lot with COVID and no travel. So we meet less people, but now we are online, so we can meet more people. And then I believe that also in the last 15 years with instant messaging, so we're interacting more, not always face-to-face, not always physically. And also on the right side, the friends and, more and more friends. And that's only one part. Our second part is our work relationships. So we know so many people in so many departments. I have my team, I have the partners managers, I have the support team, I have the product team, I have the marketing team, I have our partners, and I have our customers. So across all that, and here, looking at these circles and even focusing on the friends circle, think about, and maybe that's the first question for me here, is how many people do you believe that you can maintain relationships with from that circle? So feel free to write in the chat, or even if you want to unmute and say that will be amazing. And I'm not seeing anyone writes in the chat. Anyone wants to guess? Anyone wants to guess live?
Maybe 20 quality ones.
Yeah. So here I bring Dunbar. So is much more knowledgeable, and he researched only this area for the last 3 decades. And he proved that, bottom line, we are able to maintain the 150 average. Actually, one of the great things that when I prepared to this presentation, I heard a very recent interview of Mr. Dunbar, and he said that people that are more extrovert, or people that are practicing more extroversy, they will be able to do 250. People that are introvert, they will be able to maintain 100. So maybe that's for the first part of my obsessiveness about relationships. Maybe I was definitely right on being more extrovert and try to push myself to more. Now, my first question for you when you go now for your first breakouts is, how do you manage your relationship capacity? Are you efficient? You feel efficient? Do you feel that you can do better? So this is, for me, that's your cue for the first breakout room.
Good. So we're gonna have, why there's echo over here. Okay. We're gonna have about 9 minutes, and we're gonna be in triads. So I urge everyone to just put the camera, because it's going to be nice when somebody sees you and can connect with you. So please, everybody, put your camera on. And yeah, so the question is, how do you manage your relationship capacity? How do you increase it? And maybe whatever you want to share with each other. And when we're going to come back from the room, you will be able to share what other people shared with you. So here we go. And don't worry, if you find yourself lonely, just trust me and trust the process. I'm going to scan and look and see who is lonely there, and I'm going to put you in another room. So sometimes you're going to end up with 4 or more, but just don't panic. And if you panic and you go out, I'll help you as well. Don't worry about that. Okay, see you soon. Welcome back, whoever comes back.
I hope you can see me.
Yes,
It's quite dark here.
I can see you. Where are you calling from, Christian?
Okay, so I'm calling from Nigeria.
Oh, welcome, Nigeria. Now we have additional continent. How blessed we are.
Right.
Beautiful. Oh, I see a very good friend that created a new word that is called service, sell vice. You sell and you get the vice, and you combine between service and sales. Where is my friend Ziv? Is he there, or did I drop him? And then
Absolutely. I'm here.
You're here. You're just in the middle. Just in the middle. All right, everyone. How was it for you? Just put me with your hands. Was it bad? Was it good? Was it so-so? All right. Talking to people. How nice. People that you don't know. All right. Now, usually the best practice that I could think about is write your name if you're willing to share the pearls of wisdom that you heard in the room, and share what your friends have shared with you. Then just type down your name. I'm going to see that, and I'm going to call you. Jean, wonderful, Jean. Where are you? Let me just highlight you, spotlight you for everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Jean. Share with us.
Hi.
What have you heard in the room?
So I had a chat with Mitch and Daniela, and some of the things I took away was using social media. Sorry, I'm reading off my notes a little bit, but using social media platforms to kind of help manage or I guess keep track on, you know, your relationships, and people who are active there kind of helps, I guess, get a deeper conversation. Sorry, Daniela, please jump in if I have got that wrong, but I thought that was a really interesting piece. We also spoke about, like, you know, in the work sense, sometimes there's many relationships that, you know, you need to manage and you cannot remember all of them. So using the CRM system, and, you know, but it's also very hard to create that habit certainly in my organization. It's very hard to create habits of, you know, documenting, you know, what the conversation with the customer, and particularly the personal information that you get. So we were talking about, like, you know, when you walk into like a coffee shop and the person knows, you know, what coffee you get, you don't even have to ask, right? It just makes you feel a bit special and more personal. So like those type of things are really important, I think, when you're thinking about like building relationships and being able to capture them in a system, because you cannot remember all of them.
This is beautiful sharing. It reminds me that sometimes, especially in my age, you get senior moments and you meet people that you know them, but you forgot the name. So my pickup line over there is, I remember your name, but I forgot your face. It always makes them laugh. So thank you so much, Jean. And now everybody, if you don't mind giving just jazz hands to Jean and make her sure that she's happy that she was brave and sharing first. Great, thank you very much. And now let's go to Merav. And it will help if you're on mute, because then we're gonna hear you better.
Hi, I'm Merav and I'm located in Israel. I'm working in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
what I was talking with, I forgot the name, I'm sorry, but she's in Belgium.
Remember the face.
I remember the face, but I don't remember her name. But she's from Belgium, and we talked about she's working with few companies and in parallel, and she's staying in touch with a lot of people, and she also using social media. And what I shared with her that I have a lot of circles of friends. Is it from the army? Is it from the relocation that we live 4 years abroad? If it's from the previous working place, from university. So I'm doing to myself like a habit every holiday, the high holiday, Rosh Hashanah and Passover, to send out messages to all the people that I care about and I would like to hear what's happening. And also with the people, I'm using Facebook. Actually, I'm using Facebook only to stay in touch with the people from the past that I would like to know what's happening, and I can connect them and to see how the kids grow and what happened.
So isn't it beautiful that social media has some good parts and afterwards something everybody just complain about, so it could help us keep some relationship, and you make it personal, which is beautiful over there.
I have a very nice story about social media. I have no Instagram, and I went to Singapore for a conference, and my daughter sent me a text message saying, "Mom, Alicia, who is my friends from Shanghai, now they are spending the weekend in Singapore." And I couldn't know that without my daughter texting me from Israel. And that's how we met for coffee in Singapore. After 2 years, I didn't see her. So that was great. So the social media have a good side and a bad side.
And the nice thing about it, to everyone that is not an Israeli, I will tell you that Israel is a very big on relationship. Being Israeli myself, I would say that we are like Hotel California. You could check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. We really invest in people that are our friends. We look at them as friends for long term. We don't just sample in a way. So we really invest in relationship. That's why capacity is something that you have to take into that. Now we're just going to take one out of Guy or Dean. So who should I do it? I think the first that came, since I know Guy, I need to give Guy the chance. And Dean, please, we're going to have sharing next sharing session. You're going to be the first. Guy, go.
So, hello everyone. Thank you, Avi. I think what we discussed in our break room was there is a lot of weight for the first meeting, meaning that if people click on the first meeting, so they will be more likely want to keep in touch with this person. And I also shared that similar to Merav, I have friends from different circles of my life, previous workplace, compulsory military service. And I tend to keep the people that I can still relate to, even though we are not in the same circle, but we can continue talking and maintain this relationship over time. So I had a great talk with Amit and Kirill. It was great to meet them, and we'll keep in touch afterwards.
Fabulous. And at this point of time, I will bring back the helm to Ziv. Ziv, you can take control again. Teach us.
Thank you. So right away from the breakout room, I think this slide will connect us back to, okay, so we had the circles, we had Dunbar. Dunbar looked at the maximum capacity. Also taking from what you've said now in the sessions, I think that social media technology helps us a lot in the ability to have more relationships, to have more capacity, some more capacity. If you think about that, so that what I wanted to say here in the beginning is that the computers are being scaled historically in the last 70 years, while our brain and the limbic system specifically, which holds those 150 seats, doesn't. So we don't have more storage. Hence, we use more technology, we use more tools. And then in my journey, and what I'll show in a second, I felt like there was a huge a gap. Like, we spoke about CRM, and I'll show CRM implementations later. But one of the things that I'm looking for, maybe for the last 5 years, is what can I use personally as a CRM, as my personal CRM? And I think that each and every one of us in our practice and how we manage our day-to-day, our contacts, each and every one of us implements a personal CRM without having that best solution. So now I'll take you from vision to practice, and everything that I'm showing now we've done in the last 2.5 years, including implementation. So this is, for me, this is the pyramid of boom relationships. You can apply this to anything. It can be salesperson to prospect. It can be a manager to a team member. It can be customer success manager to a customer, and even to personal life. But I definitely won't try to think about personally here. But here I want to show you, this is a customer journey, and what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that, bottom line, there's a huge journey with the customer. Here I'm looking at B2B, of course. So it takes a lot of energy, effort, resources to get a customer from being a lead to being a lead that works with the sales team to now they are selling our product, until that customer decides to buy. Specifically at AppsFlyer, we almost never do POCs. So when a customer buys here, we have a great promise to them. They buy on trust. Only when we get to the onboarding, which I also always like to say, this is the honeymoon, and this is the most important place for us to start to show value. And in addition to that, I also always love to state here the Maya Angelou sentence, like, everything we will do here, people will remember, because they will remember how we made them feel. We promised that the onboarding will be 3 weeks, and we delivered on that 3 weeks. That's something that they will remember for 5 years. The feature that we didn't have, but the competition does, that's something that they will not remember. So this is an amazing and very important place for us to start to push the value, which helps us to later on develop that deep relationship. Same goes for a journey of a candidate joining a company. So the hiring manager, you meet the hiring manager here in the beginning of the process. Think about this, like, I think, when you think about a candidate, an interview process with a company, it's almost crazy. Like, you have 7 hours, 8, 9, 10, and the research that you will do after. After those 7, 8 hours, you need to decide that you join that company. So again, there's a promise, but when you join that company, I say that the majority, I say you join on trust. Then when you join, we're able now to deliver on that promise. Some of the values that we said in the process, some of the things that the company provides, what is our onboarding, what are the tools that we provide to you as a new employee, and how can we make you successful. In the end, when you trust us, we also we promise you that we will help you be successful. So that's a lot on that. And then here we develop a relationship between the leader and the employee. So I want to speak a little bit more about trust. So here, for example, this is a very nice framework that I like. We even have a link here, and later on I'll share the presentation so you'll be able also to read this entire article. But in the end, it's how to get people, the main framework, the name is how to get people to like you or even love you. But here it's how to get people to trust you. Be personal, use the person name, be very positive, smile, listen, remember. I always like the example of being responsive. I said before that I'm very responsive. I think here the best example is that if you think about a customer can come to you and ask for a feature. Think how much time, effort, resources, and maybe in the majority of the time we're not successful of providing that feature that the customer wants. But if that customer now emails me and I'm replying with an answer, with the best answer I can, in a minute, I just told that customer in action that is VIP. And that raises trust significantly. And the last point here is that if you are a great storyteller, then people will want to meet you again. People will want to speak with you again. So the next one, let's go to value. Here, again, a nice framework, which I really love, from Bain & Company, 30 needs that people have. So think about that. Customer success manager, the main role of the customer success manager is to deliver the product's value. But here, with these 30 needs of Bain, here are more needs of the customer that a customer success manager can help fulfill. So it can be something from the functional area, which is easier to fulfill. Sometimes that's the area of what our product does. So the product helps us to make more money, makes the company make more money, makes me more professional. I can be a better person, and I can get promoted or maybe get even a better job in another company. Then the hardest things are more in the emotional parts, the life-changing, and of course, upper. But bottom line, if I can do that, I always love nostalgia. So if I know a customer now for 5 years, and I know a specific person on that side, and I can be nostalgic with them. Oh, you remember the onboarding? We said it will take 3 weeks. It took 2 weeks. That's amazing, and that helps deepening even the relationship. And the last point here,
sorry.
Absolutely, go ahead.
No, something that is catching me. You promised the customer that you will deliver in 3 weeks, and you deliver in 2 weeks, or you deliver exactly 3 weeks. This is something that in your company it's a rule for you, and you do it because it's rarely happening.
It's something very broad that I say. This is a customer success. In customer success, I say 80% of customer success is set of expectations. If you act on set of expectations, 80% done. The rest 20% is many more things. But if you deliver on your promise, then it will be amazing, and it connects directly to how you make people feel. Because again, I have no control of that customer having feature A or having feature B. But if I spoke with that customer and I have now that plan of delivering and having that implementation of feature A and B, and I can deliver on that will be amazing. And the last point here about relationships. So before I show you what we've built functionally for customer success at AppsFlyer, I believe that first of all, you need to map. So we said before, we can have 250 significant relationships, but which are the most important ones? Which ones should we focus on? And it's dynamic. We have now 40, and in a month I'll have 50, but it can be different relationships. Then I want to surface new ones. I want to make sure that I'm able to identify who are the next significant relationships that I should invest in. And then I also want to engage, and I also want to prioritize my engagement. So today, I can engage with 7 people. I cannot engage with more people. I cannot invest more of my time with those people. And that's something I want to show you now, how we implemented it. Probably will take 3 more minutes, Avi. I hope that I have that. So first of all, map. And I think here what's really revolutionary that we've done, so if you know Salesforce and if you know a CRM, usually there's contacts under an account here, and this is of course a demo account. We decided that we build a custom object and the relationships are one-to-one. There's a CSM. CSM has 2 relationships, one with Dan, one with Scott. I'm as an executive, I also have relationships with Dan and Scott. We have different relationships. The strength of the relationship is different. The type of the relationship is different. The level of engagement should be different. So that's the map. Second, we have the surface. So actually, this is the first time I present this. We released this less than 2 months ago. It's an internal product we built in Looker. It's surfacing potential significant relationships to customer success managers according to 3 parameters, 3 dimensions: usage of our product, engagement over email and Zendesk, so engagement with the CSM, other people in the company, and support, and the decision factor. So we know you are using the product okay or not so much, but you are engaging with us a lot. So here we can see 18 engagements, 204 engagement with us, 57 are meaningful, and 1 Zendesk ticket. But here, I think the last thing is very, very important, is that we look at how important you are in the decision factor of the next deal, the next renewal. So it's very business oriented. And then we show a CSM, a list of relationships that they didn't map that are, we say, potential significant relationships according to these 3 parameters. And then they can now go and try to engage. And the last thing I want to show here is when to engage. Okay, now I mapped, we created this entire framework not to measure the CSM. We built a tool for the CSM. It's a tool that now I have a list of 40 significant relationships, the focus. And now I know when was the last time I touched base with them or engaged with them, emailed them, were on a call with them. I also know, are they responsive to me? Are they in or are they unresponsive? And the last thing I'll show you here is this is the outcome. So here we have our customers per tier. Tier 1, 2 is enterprise, tier 3 and 4 is growth. And you can see that we are engaged with the majority of customers in an enterprise in the last 2 weeks. So this is what we're driving here. And maybe I'll say one more thing here about the outcome, that ability now to focus and understand who are the most significant relationships and pushing myself to be engaged with them. It will help me to do all the things that I want to achieve from these customers, whether it's positive and upsell, or if it's negative, and it can be something that I now have a risk with that customer. If I built a good relationship, if I'm engaged with that customer, probably that I will know earlier about that risk. So just to conclude this part, so always remember that everything is built on trust. Then we need to provide great value. Then we can build a deep relationship. Know the exact, money time points, like the most important points in the journey where you can really, when you should really engage and where you can really build and deepen those relationships, and identify and optimize your significant relationships. Focus. Don't think about the 250. Think about the 40. And my next question for the next breakout is, how will you upgrade your relationships going forward?
All right. So thank you very much, Ziv. And if you enjoyed, give some love to Ziv. And I will recreate the rooms. You're going to have rooms of 3, and some we're going to have 4. And share with each other the answer to the question that Ziv showed you. How will you upgrade your relationships going forward. You can make a decision about work, about personal life. It's all up to you. Hi, Owen. Hi, Ting. Hi, Christian.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, everybody coming back from the rooms. We still have people that are so engaged they don't want to leave the rooms. Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And as we see, as the time goes by, some people go for their dinner. We should have started probably earlier for the people from Australia, for sure. I hope that you enjoyed in the rooms, and I invite you to write down your name. Dean, you have to be very fast. You want to speak first. So if you want to speak, you just put on your name. Dean is amazing. I saw his profile, and it was just calling the name. If you're just going to go to Dean's profile on LinkedIn, you say, everlasting optimism is something that is this. You know, when I met this guy, when somebody gave me this book, Everlasting Optimism, I called him and I said that I hate him. He hung the phone on me, and then I called back and I said, I called you because you wrote the book I should have been written. And that relationship became, he's my partner, he's 85 years old. And that relationship is until today, Lenny Ravitz. So Dean, you are also amazing, and you're going to be the first one to tell us what happened.
What happened is another amazing relationship with people I've never met before, all around the world. And you know what? Regardless of the topic, I think we had a hoot on both the times. But Stephen, we dropped out before the punchline, so you've got to put the punchline in the chat and just make people wonder what the hell we were talking about. So
I just wrote to him.
The
like,
punchline.
how did that happen?
The punchline is how to keep it's for my next Zoom on how to keep people in suspense. I'll be doing it next week, same time.
We had a great conversation, and what I love about these kind of things is that you can strike up conversations in a matter of seconds with people that you've never met before around some topics that you hold dearly and passionate about. And the things about upgrading, so to answer the question, to upgrade our relationships, essentially we leaned into the business space and talked about how systems and documentation helps us keep track of many relationships, because we can't remember everything. So we need some tech to be able to support and help us. So, you know, what is the name of their dog? Where was the last time they went on holiday? What is the size of the deal? And then that'll help us sort of get closer to the people, particularly in the business sense, that are of a certain value that we want to keep hold of. I come from the health and well-being space, and we run gyms and leisure centres in a space, and they are notorious of chasing the deal and going after customer acquisition. New deal. They have a 6-week onboarding process, and then we forget them. And the whole industry is notorious for that. And the whole idea of Stephen mentioned about keeping clients that were a certain size, because it's easier to keep a client than go and get another one. And that is so true in the leisure business, because the retention and the meaningful conversations that we should be having. And I think in summary, I think it was understanding and having the systems and the documentation that give us the data to lean into those relationships deeper, but more meaningful. Was that okay, guys? Was that a good summary? Thank you.
Fantastic. And I want to share something that you ignite in me is I always wondered why women have better memory than men. And trying to figure it out, I figure out that they do something that we don't do. They add emotion to the moment. So one clue, if you want to remember something, people ask me, how do I remember jokes? So many jokes. Every time you tell me something, I know at least one joke about it. And the reason is that I feel the joke, then immediately I go and tell it to 3 people on the same day, and that is repetition. And I do keywords. I told a joke about, there are only 2 jokes about Jews. The rest is true. So it's short, it's funny, but I remember it on the number 2 on the Jews and about joke. So there is keywords. So if you add on top of your inhumane CRM, you add also the feeling. You talk to someone, you see, and the best time to invest in relationship is when someone needs you, when someone is down, when someone just lost somebody, when somebody lost a relationship, somebody is depressed, someone that needs you at that time, because what we try to do is the opposite. We try to go to the happy people, but they don't need us. The people that really need us are people that a customer in stress, someone that needs you to help them. The minute that you put yourself into their world when they need you, they will never forget it. And then coming back to Maya Angelou and Ziv. So who said that he wants to speak next? That was Steve.
So the punchline is, before you were a prospect, now you're a client. For those, Dean is the only one who gets it. We'll have to do put me in, and whatever my new group is, I'll tell the joke. So I thought 2 things were interesting. One was the fact that when Ziv was in my group, he asked how many clients I had. I said, well, we have about 150 active, but we have really 500 clients, or had 500 to 600 clients. And I thought it was interesting, the whole limbic system, 150 people. But the second thing I realized was that I think that our product is very good, and our relationship management is not, and our customer service is not. And I think that people stay with us because of the product, not necessarily the relationship. And that's a problem, because the moment somebody has the product fails, or somebody has a better product, they will leave. And people do business with people. So I just realized that a lot of the customers I lost that were quite large, I really thought I had a relationship with them, but I hadn't spoken to them in 4 months or 6 months. When I actually think about it, like what my last email was to them, or conversation was. And it's something that I have to do, which is like, just because I'm thinking of them in my mind, they don't know that. And I have to really work on actively engaging with my top clients.
It's absolutely, people say client, but I think there's a difference between client and customer. And in my delight, I share that there is evolution between a casual buyer, a customer, a client, and then you go and move into a friend. And I actually can tell you that I don't have even clients. I have only friends. And I remember their birthdays. I use CRM to help me for the birthdays, but I make an effort to greet them. I make an effort to be there for them. When I hear that something's happened, I'm just going to be there. So if you use the word client, client is not a customer. Client is someone that you ongoing have a relationship with.
Yeah,
Steve. So that's my terminology. I mean, I don't think that I'm right. Lenny told me that once he had an opinion, and that was the worst day of his life. So that's my personal opinion. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Thank you. That's another joke. All right. So now maybe it's a part for questions and answers. If you have questions and answer to question to Ziv, and Ziv going to answer.
Yes, Ziv, I have a question, and we started to chat about it. So today, when I'm mapping the relationship with my customers, or mapping any kind of interaction with the customers, this is obviously something that impacts our health score and create kind of a call to action for us, the customer success team. When do you think that that's the right time to, let's say, to make this methodology something that is an essential part of your day-to-day work, since maintaining this kind of model is something that is time consuming, at least for us, since most of the process is manual. And I'm trying to identify what's the balance. When should we start to do it? When we're big enough?
Yeah. So first of all, I think that that some of it will always be manual. So some of that input will always be manual. This is also why we should focus on who are the most important relationships, who are the most important customers, who are the most, I have some customer success managers managing 40 customers. They cannot handle all customers and all relationships every day. So you need to focus. I think when you get, I believe in manual input. When you get that input, first of all, I think that the process to get that manual input must be amazing, must be super optimized. And then when you get the data, then I think we worked a long time to make sure that that data input, that the data objects are so reportable, so that helps us today to develop these reports of the other things that we can now do automatically. So not necessarily ELF scoring, but everything else. So the ability to show to a CSM that we have now a customer that has a score of 7 out of 8, because we were already super proactive with that customer. And at the same time, in the same list, you have a customer that currently has a score of 3 out of 8. So you should invest more in that customer. So I think that's definitely my vision on manual input. I believe that like in 10 years and whatever we will develop in the next 10 years, manual input will still be here. And you should always think about it, like also on the personal life, like, okay, so the 7 people that I will interact with, like my last call today is at 9. Then I meet a friend, then like, okay, I need to try to remember what was the last thing we discussed before this meeting. So like, I want to come very prepared for that meeting, and that's personal. So that goes back to the personal CRM that we need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kobe and Ziv. Any other question?
I asked mine in the chat, but if it's relevant, you can bring it up.
Just go for it.
Well, my question was that, I'm in the business of saving people money on shipping. And so one of the challenges I have is that part of the relationship and the structure of that relationship, the acquisition of that customer, the value we were bringing was reducing their shipping rates so that they could be more profitable, lower their costs, deliver the product affordably to customers, et cetera, et cetera. So in that establishment of relationship, one of my fears of like having, I once had somebody from our team, a VA, reach out to every customer asking what we could do to improve, and if they're happy with the service, and a large majority of them said, I want better shipping rates. And so then all of a sudden I started getting all these requests to reduce people's margin, because I'm in a margin related business. And so if the value that I brought initially was this, and that's kind of like why they're utilizing our service, is because we're providing better rates than they can get directly with UPS and FedEx, then if we ask them how it's going, what we can do to improve, how do I guess my concern is, my fear would be that you open up that Pandora's box by talking to them, where maybe you were out of sight, out of mind. Like they were happy with the rates, they were happy, they're going along shipping. Now all of a sudden you're like, hey, what can I do to improve? Like, let's have a quarterly meeting. And they're like, yeah, well, better rates would help. And then I have to basically constantly reduce my margins on my existing clients. So curious how that would work, how that might be answered by your team.
Yeah, so this is very commercial. So I think one of the things that we've done very well in the last 8 years, and still will be a challenge in the future, is how commercial we are. And for until now, we were not. So when we come and discuss with customers, we speak about the value, and therefore we're not also, customer doesn't look at the customer success manager as someone to negotiate with. yeah, maybe they will raise the prices, and then there's another person that holds a different relationship, which is more commercial. In our business, we work with marketing teams. It's also it's very it makes sense because there's a team that works with our product. We work with them. That's the value relationship. And when you run a renewal or ask for better prices, that goes with procurement, with a CFO and the sales manager on our side. So it's very it's two different parallel relationships. So this is why it works very, very well for us. For you, it sounds that it's the same relationship, and that's the big challenge here.
So perhaps that maybe instead of asking a general question like, how can we improve? What can we do to improve? Maybe asking questions that direct them towards value, like what things can we do to improve your experience with our staff?
I think you need to demonstrate value better. So again, going on the QBR and
what if
showing
your value
ROI,
is savings? What if your value is?
Yeah, I understand. Going to the QBR and showing ROI, it has two sides. It can be very positive. It can be very, very negative because they can say that they want more savings. But I think you need to maybe quantify your value in more things. So it's not only ROI, it's also the shipment time. So you can show average of that shipment time and you reduce that as well. So sometimes you need to push for more value on other things and actually say that you need to pay us more, not pay us less.
Yeah,
it's more secured. It's guaranteed.
Right.
So
that's how you build products.
Just to tap on what Ziv says is the question that you ask is the answer you're going to get. And when you're going to be specific about what you want to improve and you come with a good ROI, let's say you say, well, we benchmark this month against the competition and our average customer has a saving of X%. And you know before you talk to that person, what is the comparison that they have, and I say, did you save about 10 to 15% over the competition? That could be one thing to lead with the success at the beginning, and be very specific. Customer service wise, do you get what you expect? What would you like our customer service to be like? It'll be a little bit more specific. Would be there. I was just asked today for, I don't know how many times, to speak for free in one place. And I asked them, do you pay, is it a paid event? And they say, yes. How much do people pay? I say, about $3,000. And I say, how many people are there? I say, 150. And I say, how do you value my talk? And they say, oh, we value very much, but we don't pay anyone. And I say, so what basically you mean is that my value is zero. And I just delivered a talk for 15,000 euros to Lufthansa. So would you feel that my value is zero? And you know what? I got the deal for 10,000 euros from zero, because zero was not something that I would expect, because you talk to leaders that pay $3,000, you need to give them value. Yeah, so you can always lead the conversation to where you add value to them and learn from them how to be better.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Avi.
Also welcome. Well, I made a big mistake when I was a trade commissioner in Israel in Singapore. The first time that I was giving a lecture was in NUS, the number 11 best university in the world, and there were hundreds of people in the room. And at the end of the day, and I was only a week in Singapore, arrogant Israeli that I am, tamed after 30 years in being in Singapore, I asked, do you have any questions? And nobody asked any question. And then I said the most Israeli stupid thing I could have. I said, if nobody has questions, either everybody understood everything or nobody understood nothing. And to my horrors, when I finished with a standing ovation, there was a line of 50 people waiting for me to ask questions, and I needed to go to the toilets. So if nobody has any other question, I would like to, it's now or never for Ziv, but I know that Ziv has a meeting very soon and we need to be respectful of his time too. I want to thank the Ziv for being an amazing, kind, helpful. There is no doubt in my mind. There's a reason why he was one of the top 25 contributors, influencers in customer experience in the entire world. He is the kindest, and he says that he believes in kindness, and he is kind. And I'm grateful for the relationship with him. I'm glad to be one of the 150 or 250 because he's stretching all the time. And if you're going to be cultivating the relationship with him, you're going to see that he could stretch to 251 or 252 and more. So Ziv, the last word should be yours.
No, just thank you, everyone, for participating. And yeah, I'm here to continue learning and sharing.